All right, everyone. So welcome to the in-laws basement. Of course, I had to find a pegboard to record with, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about 2022 and, of course, 2023. And let me tell you, 2022 was a year. For me, moving, dealing with house projects, all while raising a one-year-old, and, of course, balancing work. It reminded me a lot of the bike industry in 2022. A little wild. Where we started with a shortage of bikes and parts and ended with an abundance of bikes and parts. And in direct consequence, we saw discounts on parts and even some layoffs. While stock is here, the pandemic urge to be outside and spend money has kind of faded. And inflation continues, and the urge to kind of purchase bikes and accessories has also receded. On the media side of things, we saw some good bike media platforms go under and a handful of jobs lost. But is this what we can expect in 2023? Let's dive into it. I just want to take a brief moment to let you all know that this video is supported in part by Terraval Tires. Like many cycling brands, there's a passionate group of cyclists behind Terraval. Their tires are designed and inspired by the routes and terrain they've ridden. And that's why you may notice Terraval tires are named after specific regions with distinct terrain and even specific trails in some cases. So to learn more about Terraval's development process and a bit more about their tire models, you can click this card right here or find the link in the description below. So after about 2 years of bike and bike part shortages, this summer, things finally let up. And while we're not totally in the clear with some particular parts still harder to find than others, we are in a much better spot than we were this time last year. Well, we should be happy about this. I for sure am, because I can now find brake pads, chains, and even pulley wheels. It's not all sunshine and rainbows for two big reasons. First, there is a lack of demand after the initial pandemic spending spree. Between folks wanting to get outside and stimulus money, many were more liberal with their spending. Now, with inflation and the fear of a recession, folks are kind of watching their bank accounts a little bit closer. And second, because of that spending spree, many manufacturers ordered many units to help compensate for the out-of-stock issues they saw during the pandemic, which of course has led to overstock issues. These two situations have brands in kind of a tough spot as they spent lots of money but can't seem to clear inventory. This has resulted in big discounts but also some layoffs, unfortunately. A variety of brands including Wahoo, Rad Power Bikes, Pearl Izumi, the Pros Closet, QBP have all let people go in the past year. And Specialized dropping their adventure athlete kind of program caused quite a stir on the internet. I've also noticed firsthand that it's been somewhat difficult to sell used bikes. I've been trying to sell a frame and a full bike for a couple of months now, and I've come up empty. Maybe because it's winter, but I've had no issues selling anything in the last few years. So while the industry seems to be struggling a little bit, according to Bicycle Retail and Industry News, or BRAIN, many brands were in the green in Q3, such as Shimano, Giant, and others. And one particular article notes that while demand is fading, it's still more than it was pre-pandemic. That all said, pre-pandemic levels were pretty grim. And if you are sitting on a lot of inventory right now, it might not be an ideal spot to be in. I guess time will tell, but in a year, if you ask me how the industry is doing compared to today, I would likely say the same, if not slightly worse, which leads me to my next topic. I anticipate some really unique stuff to drop in the cycling world and outdoor industry in 2023. Which should help keep the industry relevant, mainly because we should start to see products that were designed before or even during the beginning of the pandemic. These are items that we should have seen maybe last year or even the year before, but were bottlenecked in the Suez Canal and other major shipping routes, and even made in the USA parts should become more available as raw materials should be much more easier to get. Also, the bike industry is another year older. And there's a lot of innovative people in this industry. Whether you like it or not, this means more ways to make our lives and user experience easier, which means more innovation. I have a hunch that we'll see a few unique products, such as some updates in the drivetrain world, maybe finally a wireless drivetrain from Shimano, more bike packer friendly shoes, because, well, it's been a few years since we've seen something really specific, and I know we will see a bunch of new bikes, which, yes, of course, includes e-bikes built around bikepacking. Even though I said this last year, I know for a fact that 2023 will bring e-bikes that were kind of built and marketed towards bikepackers. And if that gets more folks on bikes, I'm totally okay with this. But what do you all think? I know e-bikes and bikepacking seems to be a contentious topic. I also think we'll see a few more innovative bikepacking bags in 2023. It seems like we get maybe one or two really unique bags. I know the Ortlieb Seat Pack QR came out in 2022, same with the Rogue Panda Ripsy. But I have a hunch something really fun is coming from some other brands in 2023, so stay tuned for that. All right, so this is a fun one. Because of the increase in price for parts and the lack of money to spend, I do suspect we will see a bit more DIY bikes and parts and rigs for 2023. I, for one, hope to build a budget bikepacking rig this year by finding a retro bike and doing some DIY projects in hopes to keep a full bikepacking rig under $500. I'm anticipating this to be a trend, and I also think trying to recycle a frame that is collecting dust is just maybe what we need right now in this world, where consumerism has thrived recently. And this reminds me of the typical arguments we see in the comment section on whether new products should be purchased or even designed in the first place. A lot of folks that watch these videos are anti-consumerism, but it creates jobs and stimulates our economy. But on the flip side, it can be wasteful, and it typically has a direct effect on global warming. But what do you all think? I'm definitely going to touch on these topics in 2023. What we saw in the mapping, route creating, and satellite messenger world in 2022 was pretty great. And I suspect we see this continue. I, for one, find it really easy to spend money on a quality app over a tangible product. Route apps such as Ride with GPS will continue to make our lives easier with updated features in the new year. Gaia GPS continues to update their mapping with wildfire maps that are up to date, which has and will, of course, become more and more useful. And an app that I've used for a while for skiing and powder forecasts, but have also used more recently for bikepacking, is the Open Snow app, which has helped me understand early season snow depths, say if I'm going to Moab or the desert, and it's simply a fantastic one-stop resource for weather. While Twitter may not be innovative or even around in 2023, these apps will continue to help us make routes and, of course, good decisions in 2023. While it might not just be outside online, it seems like many of the jobs lost actually happened there. In 2021, the editors of Bike started a new magazine and website staffed by the former Bike magazine editors called Beta MTB under the Pocket Outdoor Media portfolio, which also ran Velo News and Triathlete. Later that year, Pocket Outdoor Media purchased Outside Magazine, among other publications, and rebranded to Outside soon after the purchase. So in May of 2022, Outside laid off 15% of their workforce, which included shutting down Beta MTB. Just last month, Outside had more layoffs, cutting their staff by 12% and leaving many of the folks from Cycling Tips out of a job. But it was not all bad in 2022. Just last month, Lola Digital Media announced a rebrand to All Gear Digital, while also announcing $40 million in financing. All Gear Digital comprised of 7 digital publications, which include Gear Junkie and Bike Rumor. So this all leads me to the question, did Outside kind of overextend, or is this kind of the trend that's going to continue? A lot of this, of course, is determined by subscriptions, something that Outside relies on, and so do we at Bikepacking.com. But that's just part of it. The demise of these publications start with advertising. It always has, and it really always will. Without advertising money, it's impossible for one to solely survive off of subscribers. And with the outdoor and bike industry in a state of flux, my guess is this might not be the end. And this all leads me to the Bikepacking Collective. In 2018, we announced the Bikepacking Collective, which is our annual membership that supports this website and the Bikepacking Journal, our biannual print publication. If you want to help support what you see on our website and, of course, on this YouTube channel, definitely consider joining. All right, so similar to past years, I asked Logan, Lucas, and Miles for a hope or wish for 2023. And here's what they had to say. Logan says, I hope that despite the downturn in outdoor industry, local, state, and federal governments will continue to see the value in preserving wild places for outdoor recreation, such as bikepacking. Lucas says, my hope is that more people, especially in the United States, We'll start seeing that bicycles have value well beyond just recreation. I would love it for more bike packers to use their bikes that already have racks, baskets, and bags to ride to work or the grocery store instead of driving. And Miles says he wants to see less folks putting people down and more folks lifting each other up. For such an awesome community, there seems to be a lot of negativity within the cycling industry that I just don't think anyone has time for. I hope we see less people calling others out, more compliments, and more supportive industry as a whole. We're just riding bikes, after all. And for me, I love the pedaling more and driving less habit that Lucas mentioned, but I really hope that more folks will continue to support their local bike shops when they can, buy local, and simply just support small business. This is especially important during a time where we all might not be spending as much money. And with the rise of direct-to-consumer, one purchase at a small business goes a long way. Oh, and maybe another hope here is I stay healthy in 2023. Seems like I've been sick nonstop, but my kiddo is approaching 2 years old, so maybe, probably not, right? All right, that about does it. So what do you see going down in 2023? And what specific topics would you want to see me touch on? Let me know in the comment section below. Happy New Year, folks, and here's to a happy and healthy 2023.